And I know Arsenal's wasn't, they didn't have a perfect squad to pick from, but that wasn't, they didn't have as many problems as Liverpool, and yet once again Arteta finds himself with probably more questions than he's got answers.
And this is it, Kieran, isn't it? Like, you don't remember Alisson pulling off any spectacular saves, obviously hitting the woodwork, but overall it's just that penetration or that lack of quality in the final third that's becoming a bit of a worrying theme.
Yeah. Today was the issues were in the final third. You could clearly see they didn't have as many high quality chances, and I don't think they have this season as much as they did last season. And so, yeah, this is the questions that he needs to figure out. And the thing is, you know, it's no good just going into the market and just trying to buy anything and panic buying. You have to go and get the right player that's going to fit this team. It's a unique team. And so, but listen, both teams were poor in the final third today, and it took, you know, a set piece, a great set piece from Trent to break the deadlock. But yeah, I mean, listen, Arsenal, they're in a bit of a hole at the moment, but you know, it's not the end of the world. This result isn't going to determine their season. They're still in the race for the Premier League, and they're still in the Champions League. So it's not happy times at the moment at the club, but you know, there's still a lot to be positive about.
Meanwhile, obviously, we'll find those positives at some stage. But Stevie from Liverpool, what a bonus this is.
Yeah, I mean, for 70 minutes, they almost looked as though they came for a draw because there was no real ambition or drive or bite or anything. And the substitutions really was the change, particularly Jota, who hit the crossbar with a header, but generally just sort of got the team going. And probably the last 20 minutes, they were the better side, and they ended up scoring 2 goals. So, yeah, for 70 minutes, not a lot to talk about, quite frankly, but last 20, absolutely.
Celebrations all around.
Honest, I feel like Kieran is all trying to look for somebody to give him the confidence to believe that everything is okay with us now, nothing wrong. As he's saying today, it was the goal scoring. The day before, it was a terrible performance. You can see that there's something wrong with the Arsenal squad. And I had to be the carrier of bad news, but I'll still blame Enfield. Enfield strikes again. This has happened before, but it never happened to the level that now Arteta is experiencing, because it's now out of 7 games, there's only won 1 game. 7 games. And your manager was trying to go for the title. To be honest, they were playing with a weaker Liverpool. I've never seen a weaker Liverpool than this. Of course, you know, with some big players in there. Salah was missing our main guy. Virgil van Dijk was missing our main guy. Dominic Szoboszlai, the whole entire season. Say what you say about him, he has been one of our main guys. The other one who were missing, you can still see that there were so many gaps that were in this team, but somehow we still find our way to win. And of course, Stevie might say that it felt like Liverpool were looking for a draw in the beginning of the game. I think it was more like trying to survive, because they knew that Mikel Arteta is going to put his foot in. And the way Klopp said this team was for them to try by all means to try to control the game, and it was very difficult, especially because Arsenal were trying to target 2 weak points according to them. It was Gerrard Konsa and as well Trent Alexander-Arnold. They wanted to take advantage of those. In fact, the way they set up in the first half Arsenal was to take advantage of Gerrard Konsa, to put him under pressure so that the kid could panic. But I was really impressed with the kid, by the way. He held himself, controlled the game, and did what he had to do alongside Konate, who I felt like was master of a defender. Anyway, let's hear what you have to say in the comment section as we continue.
And then for Liverpool, a game which has left us with more questions about Arsenal and the direction in which they're going. Liverpool then through to the draw tomorrow. Arsenal out. Craig, how big a deal is this from an Arsenal perspective?
Well, I think it is, and I don't think it's just the fact that they're not going to be contesting the FA Cup. I think it's a broader and a bigger picture. Is they're already 5 points off Liverpool at the top. We have Man City, second half of the season, traditionally come strong. De Bruyne is back, Foden's in great form. They're not going away. And Arsenal are the team that I think he's actually scratching his head. I think in the last 18 months, maybe give or take 1, maybe 2 players, we all knew what that team was going to be. I don't think if he sits down now and writes what's going to get me a result on paper, I think he could change it several times. I think he's now searching. And just as worrying as the goals, that rock-solid defence has stopped keeping clean sheets. It's starting to leak some goals now as well. We've discussed the goalkeeper situation at length. And don't forget, in this game, Liverpool got two goals. But Ramsdale arguably made it the best save of the game as well, from Diaz.
It's interesting, Kieran, and as much as you want to put a positive spin on it, the facts are that Arsenal are in a rut at the moment, in front of goal and conceding goals as well. How easy is it for them to turn this around?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you look at the last 6 results, of course, it doesn't paint a great picture. But when you actually zoom out, over the last probably 5-6 years and how far the club has come in a short space of time, But
you're an Arsenal supporter and you're sat there saying, right, we need to be going toe-to-toe with City, with Liverpool in this Premier League battle. We need to be winning these games in the FA Cup. You're just giving, as Craig said, City haven't had a good run. Start of the season, but you've just opened the door to them with Kevin De Bruyne coming back, Erling Haaland back from injury as well. And that has got to be the concern from Arsenal, because there's more questions about them than any other team now in the title race.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they're in the title race, though, you said it, right? They're in the title race.
But you're in it, but you're just letting others...
It's important to remember, because for the last 5-6 years...
Yeah, but we're not talking about the last... We're talking about the last 18 months. We're talking about the fact that Arteta spent a lot of money in the summer to make them, to push them over the line from where they failed last season, yet you could argue that they've regressed.
Oh, in the last month, of course, but over the broad scale of, 12, 18 months... the club has completely reformed. Completely reformed. Do you want to agree with that?
No, I completely agree with that, but you can only be judged
that's not a point,
on what you've done over the last couple of months. You've raised the bar high, no doubt about it. Arsenal won a lot of people's love because of the football they played last season. They came second. Did they bottle it? No, it wasn't. It was just a case they got injuries at the wrong time. Now, you've been backed as a manager. You've been given a lot of money in the summer. You spent wisely on Rice, maybe not with Havertz. And now it's about putting the performances on the pitch. Yeah. And if you don't, we've got every right to sit here and ask why not.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you. And the thing is, you have to ask yourself, what would you rather when you're in those cycles? Would you rather be a Chelsea right now, or would you rather be a United? I think I would pretty much prefer the foundations that Arsenal have built in the last 18 months over any of those other clubs. So actually, to be honest, when I look at it, I don't panic too much over the next 3-4 years with Arsenal at all. I think they've got a clear identity. They know how they play. They have a young team, a very exciting team. I wouldn't even change too much if I was Arsenal. They need very slight changes. Mikel needs to obviously, go back to the drawing board and have a look at what's gone on in the last month. But to be honest, I think we like to jump on Arsenal in particular when
no, I don't
have
think,
a little.
No, that's not fair. We've jumped on United. We jumped on Chelsea.
No. Listen,
because in this case, it's the Arsenal representatives that we've got. It feels like for some Arsenal fans, these guys, they are already moving on from this season. It feels like they're moving on from this season because he's talking about that this is a good team for the next coming years and stuff like that. And he said that where would you want to be, either a Manchester United or a Chelsea or an Arsenal? And he's saying that he's backing being a Arsenal. For me, that feels like somebody is looking for ways to find a way to actually still believe that they have something there. But the problem is this, like what we're hearing here from Dan, whether we look at it elsewhere, whatever we do, if the team is not performing, we all have the right to come here and question what is really wrong. And like Steve tried to say, like what Dan was trying to point out, even Craig did mention it, we can see that some of the decisions that the manager made in the transfer windows are coming back to bite them. Buying Kai Havertz is telling us that he's a midfielder. He's slowing the way Arsenal were building up when Granit Xhaka was in that position. And we can see that now the goals that maybe Xhaka was getting, some they've dried up. It's now adding up in terms of how this team is performing. So in other words, the way we're seeing this game going, the way we're seeing this team being built, it's all at a lack. It's not the same team we've seen over the years and what we've come to love and actually be there. Because now we might try to Now Kieran is coming here trying to compare this thing with Manchester United and Chelsea. They're in the terrible ways. But in terms of what we are seeing, the crisis is there. And like what Craig just said, as much as they're failing to turn the ball into the back of the net, the front three, the defense that was behind, which was the solid defense that people were talking about, they're starting to leak goals. They are now starting to leak goals and they are very much not performing. And because of not performing, we are seeing all these things. And we all have a right to come here and ask questions. Where is this going wrong? Where is Arsenal going in the next years? And how can this affect this title charge that they've been under? Because one thing that they did so well was to win people's love with the way they were playing. But now they're no longer doing that same, partly because of the decision that Mikel Arteta has done. They might try to blame injuries. Look at in this field today's game, which team made more setbacks, Arsenal or Liverpool? People are going to come out and say Liverpool because we didn't. So many people were left because of where they were going, but also injuries. We're talking about people like Dominic Szoboszlai who were not in the game. We're also talking about people like Virgil van Dijk who had illness. One of the best in this game, Mohamed Salah. We know what he offers. So in this game, who exactly is supposed to be bringing blame if they had lost this game? It's Liverpool. But at the end of the day, who won the game? Liverpool. Now, when we ask questions, you're gonna hear that, oh, we have injuries. We have somebody like Jurgen Timber who have never featured for a team who have just been out of the winter season. So you cannot blame anyone. The only player we might say you was injured for you was Jesus. So there are a lot of questions rather than answers. So now let's hear what Craig has to say, because really what Kieran's trying to do doesn't really work in this.
Listen, you can't be in a title. You can't be winning the league at the top for as long as they were last year, playing the way they were with all these super talented players. Nobody blamed them for losing the league, right? Maybe a few Arsenal fans, I don't know, right? City were just better. But then, once you've built this and you have what you want, and then you go out and the club back you, right? I'm sure there were people inside Arsenal were going, you know, Declan Rice, fine, terrific player, terrific. Urian Timber, that's unfortunate, he's out. But I'm sure there's a few people at the club, and I don't want to keep going on about Kai Havertz, but it's a bit like Mason Mount at Man United to an extent, and people are going, what was the big need? And I think once you make these decisions as a manager, as a club, and you're having these type of performances, people are going to question you. Look, Arsenal Football Club, and you well know better than me, but all these elite clubs, it is not good enough to be second or third. Really, it is not. Liverpool are not trying to achieve that, and Arsenal shouldn't be either. So there is going to be a pressure that comes his way. He's going to have to figure out if he's got the nous to turn this around.
The goal for the manager is not to have a great base to look at for the next 3 or 4 years. The point of the manager is to win games. And right now, as Craig said, I don't think he knows the best side that's going to go and win games on a regular basis. And the longer they go through this dry spell, the further away from the top of the league they'll get. I mean, yes, you can argue right now they are part of a title race, but if they keep performing like this, they're going to slide out it. They're going to slide out it because Manchester City ain't going to be dropping 9 and 10 points between now and the end of the season, and I don't think Liverpool will. So if Arsenal don't get sorted, particularly in the front end of the field, yes, they're not been as good defensively, but my goodness, going forward, they don't look like scoring. I mean, the possession they had for 70 minutes against this Liverpool side today, and they never one shot that Alisson had to save from White. That's not good. It's not good enough. And having 1 win in 7 with the Premier League the way it is, you can't afford to drop more points. Otherwise, you will be out the title race.
How do you address this tactically if you're Arteta?
I don't think it's to do with tactics. I think it's to do with getting the right players in the right positions. Havertz to me has upset the apple cart,
right.
No question, in the middle of the park. And then you try and play him up front as well, and it doesn't work. Now you've got your young guy in Nketiah who's going to be second guessing himself. Your other striker's injured. I mean, there's not a straightforward fix other than try things. And trying Reece Nelson today didn't work. Mm-hmm. Martinelli did more when he came on in the short space of time than than Nelson did. So you've got to try and you've got to figure a way out of getting Odegaard, Saka, and particularly Martinelli, those three, in form.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
That's the key.
They're all out of form at the wrong time because they're all out of form together.
And I think every facet of the Arsenal team at the moment is not operating to the level that it was. It's not just the front. It's what's the balance in the middle of the park? What's the best three ball in there? You know, who's the best to play the right back and the left back? And Zinchenko had a little bit of criticism in the last few weeks. I really believe a lot of this stems from some of the decisions and rhetoric that Mikel Arteta made months ago. Talking about subbing goalkeepers during games, making the change with Ramsdale and Raya, not suggesting this is totally the reason why they're in this little bit of a slump, but I think these are decisions that make players talk in the dressing room.
Just kind of add up. There's little bits that just add up.
You know, when you're in the dressing room and you've had Ramsdale playing as well as he did for that period of time in goals, and he was good.
Yep.
And he wasn't without mistakes, but he was good, right? You have players going, well, I'm not quite sure about that decision. Why are we doing that? And then you sign Kai Havertz and players try and integrate him in, as you do. You try and get him in the squad, you try and help. But it was crystal clear this experiment of playing him in midfield wasn't working, and that was backed up by the fact that he dropped him. Mm-hmm. But again, it gets players talking. And so these little things just gather some moss. And it's all down to, I think, decisions that Mikel Arteta has made that he really didn't have to. And now he's going to have to backtrack and find a way to get himself out of it. Because I say, City are not going to go away. Liverpool, when these players come back, are strong. Even Aston Villa. And Tottenham a point behind Arsenal in the league. And Arsenal are the side we're talking about out of all these teams at the moment. How are they going to turn this around? I'm sure they will in some sense, but it's just whether they can turn it around enough to get enough momentum and head of steam to really have a go at this title again.
Meanwhile, for Liverpool,
this is very, very interesting what Stevie Nicole and what these guys are talking about. It's because there are a lot of decisions that Mikel Arteta made in the beginning of the seasons, which are now coming back to haunt him. Because, say whatever you want to say, Kai Havertz coming into this team did not make any sense. We talked about this, that this could be the decision that could either build or break Mikel Arteta's season. And at this moment, it's more about breaking rather than building. These are the decisions we were talking about, which were going to leave a mark, and they definitely did leave a mark. People accept it and really take it to heart. These are some of the decisions that we are seeing coming back to haunt this Mikel Arteta's charge for the league and whatever that is trying to achieve by the end of the season. Because there was not any necessity in getting these players out of the team. There was not any necessity in putting so much pressure onto this team to disturb what was the beginning. Remember, in terms of talking about foundation, there is a moment of building a team. Then there becomes a foundation which goes on into making a team into a success. You have built a team. You are trying to set up that route to call it a foundation of a team. And this season was the season which was meant to make it more rigid, whatever this team that Mikel Arteta has been working on. And you decide to make so many changes. Because some of the changes, to be honest, you might see that it's never about actually how the tactics are wrong. It's about the personnel, like what Steve Nicol is saying, the personnel of Kai Havertz not being what he was meant to be, and is turning everything that Arsenal had built into miserable. And as well, we look at players like, for example, Aaron Ramsdale. People might not talk about it. He was the glue in terms of his passion and how we built this team. Now taking him out and putting a rare. So many questions are being raised from the dressing room, especially him talking about substituting a goalkeeper and doing what. That's all that could have been, all the things that I've done, because it got the dressing room talking. It gets the players asking questions. Does the manager know what he's doing? Are we going into the right direction? Can this really work? Are we not destroying what was the core and the best ground of what this team was built on? Those are the questions that are being asked. Now, when you put all these things into consideration, that has left this team now lacking and now missing so much than it has ever been. And now so many people are asking questions. We are all here wondering where exactly Mikel Arteta is going next. That's where my problem with Mikel Arteta is. That's where my problem with this Arsenal team that he was building is going. Now we wonder exactly, can he get anything out of this game? Because to be honest, he did not deserve to. Arsenal did not do enough to deserve to leave this game with the loss. It looked like they did so well. Can you believe 70 minutes playing so well, dominating the game? And in those 17 minutes, you only have one shot on target, which actually challenged the goalkeeper, which was a Ben White kick, which Alisson had to hit and throw outside, rather than that he hit the post. I have a surprise for you. Diogo Jota hit the post as well for Liverpool on the other side. Trent Alexander-Arnold also hit the post as well for Liverpool. So when we talk about hitting the post, Liverpool actually had more shots on which hit the post more than Arsenal. So in terms of talking about dangerous chances, Liverpool created more than what Arsenal did. Because also Luis Diaz had a shot which actually forced the Ramsdale to do one of the crazy saves. Now at the end of the day, we win the game by 2-0. So many questions. Let's hear what you'd have to say before we come to an end of this video.
It's a nice dream scenario, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
You don't put in your best performance, you still get away with a 2-0 win, move on.
Yeah, they've kind of limped through the game as well with the injuries, and they'll be pleased with that. They don't have to have a replay as well with the Carabao Cup semi-final coming up. So it's happy days for them right now. I don't think anyone expected Liverpool to have the season that they're having. They've had a complete overhaul, but they've recruited really well, especially in the middle of the park. I think that they're just like their overall team's IQ has just gone. I love Endo. I think he's brilliant. And then the players that stepped in today, they weren't the best, but they've got the job done. And Klopp has got the know-how and the tactical nous to get one over.
And you'll be hoping that Jota can put in 90 minutes, Stevie, during these periods where obviously Salah's away, because we just saw, and we mentioned it a lot, he was the difference really when he came on.
Absolutely. I guess the key, it kind of feels like since he came to Liverpool, the key is for him to stay fit for a real long period of time. Because every time he steps on the field, he's a handful, he creates chances for himself and for others, and he scores goals.
Really, really, really to give an ending to this, that Liverpool came in with a weaker team where you expect them to lose, come out and now they're winning the game. It doesn't even make sense. Playing against that strong Arsenal team, playing against a team that was going to demand so much. Those are the certain performance that brings in the confidence for a team, that builds the character in the team, that makes the team to start believing in each other and believe in what they're capable of doing. They played 70 minutes, and what they had to do was to focus more on their defensive and try to hit and create opportunities. It did not work for such a standard of time because the Arsenal's energy was all over the pitch and the crowd was really on Arsenal's side. But at the end of the day, they left the game with 2 goals, and as well, moving on to the second stage. So it means a quadruple. They're able to win 4 trophies without actually doing so well. They're 5 points on top of the league. They're doing so well. So many injuries, and it seems like injuries are not really vexing them. They're not really affecting them. Those players who have been questioned if they'll ever step back, they're showing chances. They're actually scoring goals. And Jota, I think, is really the most important player of them all. Him being fit could really work in Liverpool's favour for so much more. It will be wonders. And he came in and he became the difference maker. Saliba could not copy with him. Ben White could not deal with Diogo Jota. And he was running around from that midfield. The Declan Rice could not even control him, moving all over and doing what he was doing. Jorginho became a passenger in that game. And all helps this team to be strong, gives this team the confidence to believe that they have the quality to get what it takes. They have the quality that can give them and actually helps them to achieve more in what they're doing than what we are seeing. So those are the questions that you have to actually be wondering exactly where is this team going, what exactly will happen. But it's exciting, people. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do me a favor, click the like button, subscribe to the Connect. Where do you see Liverpool going forward from this, and how important is Diogo Jota moving forward is what they're doing, and what do Arsenal needs to do? Can Mikel Arteta turn this fortune around earlier, or this is going to be something that lasts for long and it will be too late for him to save the season if he is not able to solve it earlier. I want to know in the comment section. Click the like button, subscribe to the Connect. We're out. Peace. Subscribe to the Connect. We're out.